What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. For those of you that are new here, my name is Eric Cruzosit and I have been in the fitness industry as a coach and trainer for just under a decade now. So you can imagine I've picked up some pretty nifty tricks in regards to correcting form and making sure that people don't get injured, right? So today's video is exactly as the thumbnail states. I'm going to show you how to never, ever, ever throw your back again using a very simple drill that you could do pretty much from anywhere, okay? All you're gonna need is either a broomstick or some sort of dowel, okay? You just need something that's, I'd say about, I'm 5'4", so I'd say about like 3 feet-ish, okay? Because all you want it to do is be able to touch your lower back, your mid back, and the back of your head, right? Because if you think of what a deadlift is in its simplest form, it's a hip hinge, right? The problem with the hip hinge is most people tend to want to squat, okay? If you think of a door hinge, what a door hinge does is it opens and it closes, okay? It opens and it closes. So that's essentially what you're trying to do with your deadlift. Now that being said, you've probably heard multiple people say this before, but you need to keep a neutral spine, okay? So that's where this drill comes into place. And then I'm gonna show you afterwards how to keep it airtight to make sure that there's nothing giving in regards to your form as you're lifting that weight off the ground, okay? So for starters, you're gonna get your dowel, okay? Now, you're gonna wanna make 3 points of contact, like I aforementioned. The back of your head, your mid-back, and your tailbone, okay? Let me switch hands just so you can get a good visual. So again, the back of your head, your mid-back, and your tailbone. Those are the 3 points of contact that you need to maintain with this dowel as you go into your hinge. Now, in regards to your feet, I would suggest to start out, you're gonna have to feel it out because everybody's anatomy is different. But to start out, I'd say be just outside of hip width apart in regards to your foot stance, okay? Maintaining those 3 points of contact now, you're gonna break from the hips and you're gonna hinge forward, okay? Now, a great cue to look for here is your hamstrings lengthening and stretching out, okay? You'll feel your hamstrings go on if you're doing this properly. Because if you're going into the squat, more of your quads are gonna fire off before you're gonna push up, using your hamstrings and your glutes. So as you're hinging forward, if you're maintaining a neutral spine, a neutral neck, and all 3 points of contact with that dowel, you should feel the stretch in your hamstrings, okay? Now, doing reps like this, I'd say start off doing like maybe 4 or 5 sets of like 12 to 15, even 20 reps until you've gotten it to the point that you no longer need that dowel to hinge forward properly, find that stretch in the hamstrings, and keep your spine neutral, okay? Now, once you've mastered that, you're still not ready to pick things up, okay? Because the second thing we have to do is master turning on your lats. This is a problem that I see with most people whenever they're going to deadlift. Even once they got the hip hinge, once they go to pick up the weight, because they're not keeping their upper back or their lats tight, what tends to happen is they'll start to break from the top and then the lower back will give out inevitably, right? So the next thing I want you to master, once you've mastered the dowel hinge, let's call it, is engaging your lats with the dowel, okay? So what you're gonna do, you're gonna raise your hands to just outside of shoulder width apart with the dowel in your hands, okay? Tightly grip it, and I want you to think of trying to break it in half, okay? Now, the key here to breaking it in half, if you've ever used a screwdriver and you tried to do it with your wrist, it probably took you a long time, okay? It's not very effective. But now, when you're screwdriving from the shoulder joint, you're getting much more of a rotation out of that screwdriver, therefore moving, turning the screw a lot faster. So it's the same type of principle here. When you have that dowel in front of you, while you're trying to break that dowel in half, you're not just breaking from the wrist, okay? I like to use the cue of breaking from the elbows, but ultimately what you're trying to do is externally rotate your shoulder. Because if you just put your arm out in front of you right now and you externally rotate your shoulder, you'll feel your lat go on. And if you don't, literally take your other hand, put your hand on your lat, externally rotate, you'll feel your lat go on, okay? So now, once you've mastered that external rotation or the screw driving motion, with the dowel in front of you, I want you to think of breaking that bar in half, okay? You can also pre-exhaust your lats by doing a high row or a lat pull down just to get your lats kind of fired up so you can actually feel them. But essentially what you're doing, again, is trying to break that dowel in half. Once you've mastered engaging the lats, you're gonna mash the two together, okay? So now we're thinking back of the head, mid-back, tailbone, fall into our hip hinge, okay? Take our dowel, full extension with the arms, outside shoulder width apart. We're gonna break that bar in half. Now we have tension in our hamstrings, we have tension in our lats, and we can now pull weight off of the ground successfully without hurting our lower backs, okay? So that is all I have for you today. I hope you guys found value in this video because this one little nifty trick has helped me over the years so much, not just with my clients, but with myself, okay? I had to really, I was humbled by my colleagues when I first entered into the fitness industry at Good Life Fitness in 2016, where, I got to some substantial numbers, at least in my mind, in regards to my squat, my bench, my deadlift. But I sustained a lot of injuries on the road to sustaining those numbers, or to getting to those numbers, because I wasn't practicing proper form. So this little trick I actually picked up very early on in my career, and I utilized myself for weeks, if not months, to actually rewire the way that I was hip hinging, okay? Or doing a deadlift. So again, I hope you found value in this video. If you did, please leave me a thumbs up. And if you want more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel. But for now, Coach Cruz logging off. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace, love, and all the protein. May the gains be with you.